Welcome to Code Voices in STEM, the podcast that highlights the experiences, challenges, and career stories of culturally and linguistically diverse women in STEM. Join us as we explore the stories of these inspiring women and learn more about the diverse contributions they are making to the world of science. Here is your host, Dr. Chloe Lim.
Hi everyone, this is Dr. Chloe Lim and you're listening to Code Voices in STEM, a podcast that highlights the experience, challenges, and career stories of culturally and linguistically diverse women in STEM. I begin today by acknowledging the Ngunnawal and Ngambri people, the traditional custodians of the land on which we are meeting, and I pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. I also extend my respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples joining us today and acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands and waters wherever you may be listening from. Their deep connection to the land, culture, and community enriches all of us and contributes greatly to the life of this country. In this season of Code Voices in STEM podcast, I'm very excited to highlight Canberra Women in STEM. And I'm honored to have Dr. Madhumita Iyengar with me today as a podcast guest on this special podcast series. Dr. Madhumita is an economist by profession, advocate for women's empowerment, and community leader. She has a PhD in economic modeling from Queensland University of Technology and specialises in economic evaluation of policies and programs, impact analyses, policy and program development and review. She is the founder chair of Initiatives for Women in Need, IWiN, and chair of the Canberra Multicultural Community Forum, CMCF, the peak body representing 110 plus member organizations in the ACT. She has also served on various community boards, including Canberra Women in Business and Women Economists Network. Through IWiN, Madhumita has pioneered inclusive initiatives like FEMFEST and symposiums addressing domestic violence, gender inequality, and workplace discrimination, providing culturally safe platforms for marginalized migrant women. Her contributions have earned her numerous accolades, including the 2018-2019 ACT Multicultural Champion Award. Her latest recognition is as finalist for the Australian of the Year 2025 Award for ACT Local Hero. A proud Indian Australian, Madhumita continues to advocate for social justice, women's safety, and equitable opportunities for migrant communities. Welcome, Madhumita, to the podcast.
Thank you, Chloe. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm feeling really honored and humbled.
Well, I think I'm in the presence of a giant, really. It's amazing the amount of...
Not at all. You are an inspiration to so many people. Probably you don't realize that. And you are also doing, both of us are actually in the same league. You are also empowering women, particularly women in the cult, for women coming from the STEM, women coming from the cult background. And that's so very important and so very much needed.
Yeah, no, I think it's an important thing to be a role model, isn't it? Especially for girls and women who are interested in studying science in STEM. Now, I'm curious though, because you have a background in economics and people would not normally think of economics as a STEM subject. So tell us a little bit more about what makes it STEM and how did you get into economics?
Well, it depends on where you have done the economics, your training or learning or academics. I have done my economics throughout after my year 12 from India, right? And in India, they can the education system is that after 10 you get into stream. So I got into the science stream, which is the usual STEM subject: physics, chemistry, mathematics. And after that, so after I finished my 12, I had a choice of getting into a science undergraduate degree or I could have done statistics or economics or geography, because and also I think psychology. These are the subjects in India. If you want to do honors in your undergraduate degree, you have to have mathematics in your year 12.
Mm-hmm.
So it's considered a STEM subject in India. But here I understand you can do economics, you can do economic studies without mathematics. And that's why I think the perception is, that economics may not be a STEM subject. And as I was, I think, talking to you earlier, that my PhD is in, though I studied economics throughout my honors, master's, MPhil, and then I did my PhD. My PhD specialization on economic modeling, and I did it from Queensland University Faculty of Built Environment and Engineering, which is a civil engineering field. So my both supervisors, my main supervisor, he was the transport chair, and he was head of this civil engineering department. And my other supervisor, she was she was the head of the department in the physics. So both were coming from the science background, and I did economic modeling, where obviously you have to have mathematics background. We do mathematical modeling, and basically what we do is that we create evidence. Like, we collect data, we use our modeling to see the impacts of certain policies, certain programs. So it's all, I guess, comes under science,
Yeah.
STEM. And so that's how it is. And so I would say I'm in the area of economics, which uses a lot of mathematics. But
Mm.
there are areas in economics where you can be an economist without using mathematics. So
That's
that's the
very
difference.
interesting. Yeah, no, that's very interesting. So, what was it that drew you to studying economics?
I have not studied economics before I joined
Mm.
university. So, as I said, that when I came to it was time for me to pick up my undergraduate degree. Um, in India, that time when I was growing up in India, it was very important what you pick up in undergraduate, because there was not much choice. After you pick up the subject in undergraduate, you can change courses like you do here, you can change. But we did not have that scope. So one has to be very, very careful what they opt for in graduation. And I always wanted to do research, and that's why I was thinking that if I choose a subject, it has to be something very interesting, which will take me through my honors, take me through my masters, then my research. So I should remain motivated to make that journey. And since I had already done science in year 12, 11, 12, the 2 years, somehow I was not very impressed by my chemistry or physics, but I liked my mathematics. I liked modeling, and and I thought economics is a new subject. I have not done it before, and it will be good to see that how mathematics can be applied in that field. And also, economics is a very current topic, and I was interested in the what's happening around me. I wanted to know that what drives certain incidents, and how we can, if it is possible, whether we can make changes to what's happening not very desirable. So I thought economics would give me that scope, and that's how I got into economics. And I'm very happy that I had chosen economics, not knowing much of economics at the time, that I actually fell in love with economics, and I'm still in this field. Um, Yeah, by God's grace and the subject. I really love this subject, what I do.
Oh, that's so fantastic. So like it seems like you've got quite a bit of a career in economics, yeah? And so was there a specific project or achievement that you're really proud of as part of your career?
Definitely. My career is almost like 3 decades now in economics, working in the public sector mainly as economic advisor. I've worked in the India government, but mostly because for last 25 years I'm settled in the in Australia. So worked in the Australian government. Most of these, the central agencies like Treasury, Finance, worked in transport, worked in environment, worked in defense, whatnot, worked in health. So I have so many, and also I worked in the consultancy sector, and as you know, my passion is for the community sector. So working in this, so I have covered quite a few different areas, and coming to what is my favorite project that I'm proud of? Actually, there are so many, but because my passion lies in the community sector, I will mention one project which is very close in the sense that I think this is what we need to do in the community sector. There is a huge gap, and I'm currently trying to promote that approach. It is, I will not name the organization. It is a not-for-profit organization in the health sector, and it's a national body in in Australia. And they had a program where the patients had some chronic health symptoms, and some of them obviously get hospitalized and get to emergency department, or they were in the long stay area. But what the program was aimed at, that when people come out of the hospital system, whether it's the emergency or the long stay, how they manage their health, and what kind of help they need. Because this program, what they tried to do, they were contacting these patients, and they were continuously following up with their post hospital medical appointment and their health management, whether it's their medication or certain health habits or the daily habits that were prescribed. So motivating them with them, and basically following up with they were following it, and whether it was making any change in their future health conditions, like whether how often after coming out of the hospital again they got admitted, and whether after following all the advices and medication, their hospital admission has been reduced. So that these were the indicators to see whether the following up with their medication and health habits this is a kind of educating them of this health management, self-health management, can have any impact on reduced hospital admission. Hospital admission is very expensive. And also, when you are not healthy, you obviously, it affects your productivity. You cannot go to work, or you don't feel like working. So your productivity falls. So it was both way. Hospital admission is a cost to the government, and also it's a loss of productivity. It was there was double impact. So they were trying to aim through that health self-education and management program. And they wanted to see, because it was quite a unique new program, so they wanted to continue with the program after 2 years of running. because they had funding for 2 years. Now, they were asking for a fund for continuing the program from the government, and government was considering. So government asked the organization to give them a report on the impact of the program, and somehow one of the executives knew me, and she was discussing it with me, that how could we do some impact analysis or impact statement for this program. So I suggested, being an economic modeler all the time, that's my job, doing it for the government, being an economic advisor, creating evidence from the of the programs or policies post, and the we call it NT and post, like the cost benefit analysis mainly. So we do the analysis of the program impact before and after. So I discussed that with her, and I said, you can do that. And she came back to me saying, well, it looks like quite a bit of work. I don't think we have that expertise in our organization. Could you help us with that? I said, definitely. I do it all the time, not a problem. But I need to know your, collected evidence, data, and all these things, because in the hospital sector here, there are a lot of privacy issues involved in using data. So they said, okay, we will get all this information for you. And I did the cost benefit analysis, and as expected, it showed real benefits to the community, as I was discussing before, that reduction in the cost for the government by reducing the hospital admission, as well as improving the productivity when people feel better, so they go to work. So you are contributing to the organizational output. So that's how we do our cost benefit analysis. That's how the mathematical modeling comes into place. And you apply it for, evaluating the impact. So I did it for them, and they were asking for a continuation of 1 year, but because the benefits were outweighing cost so much, that the government was happy to extend the project for 2 more years. So that's the I said that's the beauty of the impact analysis, and that's what I want to promote, because all these non-government sector, they do so many unique projects for the community well-being. It needs to be assessed properly, and the impacts, how it impacts people, how it impacts their life, and the community in general, that needs to be documented. And we can do it through proper economic analysis. So this is, I'm very proud of, because, in the government, we always do it. In the consultancy sector, all the time we do it, but we don't see the impact at the grassroots level like that. And this is what I think at the grassroots level we need to do more, which is, they do evaluation, but it's not that systematic evaluation like this. It's more of what, how to say, more of a qualitative evaluation. So we need to do quantitative evaluation, because at the end of the day, it's the dollar what matters, right? To run a program, you need dollar. To evaluate the efficacy of the program, or you also need to define it. through dollars. And economic modeling gives the advantage of some qualitative assessment to be converted into dollar, so that it's easy for the policymakers or the organization which is giving you financial support, funding. It's easy for them to budget. It is easy for them to provide you that much needed funding.
Yeah, no, I think I see such great value in what you do in terms of making it concrete, really, isn't it? Because sometimes
Yeah.
I think one of the challenges that NGOs probably face is firstly not having the resources to be able to do something like this, and not really having a very clear idea of how they're using the money and how that money, the funds that's been invested is impacting the community. And I think that's such a tangible thing that can be used as evidence to secure future grant funding, isn't it? And to
Yes,
continue the powerful
absolutely.
work. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the word, the tangible outcome
Mm.
that you can see. And I'm using the dollar because this is what matters, tangible outcome in terms of dollar value when you put it. Then because whether you are a funder or whether you are the recipient, you have to make a budget to run your programs. And it is always in dollar term, right?
Yes.
and and that's what, unfortunately, you do not have a lot of people with the quantitative analysis skills in the NGO sector because of the inherent nature of the NGO sector. And that's why it needs to be promoted um, in a way where they can tap the existing skills, because quite often even that's not known to them, that there will be people even in the NGO sector who have the skills, and if not having the skills to build that capability
That's
using
true.
the experts, that's also important, right? So thinking along that line, for example, any program, when we develop our policy, we need to put the evaluation of that program and policy in the designing process itself when you start it. But the reality is that in the NGO sector, I'm not talking of the big NGOs, I'm talking of the grassroots level or the medium size. Most often, this very element of evaluation comes as an afterthought, not as a before thought. So what is the difference is then, when it comes as an afterthought, you want to evaluate what you have done, but then you don't have the evidence, you have not collected the data. But if it comes as a part of your designing process itself of the program or the policy, then you know how to collect your evidence to evaluate your program and policy at the end of the delivery. So,
Yeah.
those basic understanding, which makes the life easier, I guess.
Yeah. Especially for one who's gonna do the analysis after.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I had that problem with that national body actually, but being a national body, they were a bit prepared in the sense that it was the patient's data, so they collect it naturally, but still some of this information, particularly the productivity, data on productivity and all that, was um, a bit of an issue, because they also, like any other organization, did not think of collecting those
Of course.
information, beforehand.
Yeah. So how would you raise awareness around the importance of setting all these things in place before starting a program, so that then, it's like killing two birds with one stone, right? You're running a
Yeah, yeah.
program, you impact the community, but then you also have, evidence to support what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah. This is what I'm trying my level best at a personal level, talking to organizations. But you have nailed it. Actually, you made me thinking that we should do something about it so that we can have we should have a targeted program to educate or to raise that awareness. Yeah, we should, I think.
Well, I'll let you get started on another project.
Yeah, sounds like that. Thank you for bringing that, proposal.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's amazing the all the different things that you're doing to empower women as well. And as part of, I guess, your desire to serve the community, you also run the initiatives for women in need. Yeah. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about what you do around that to support women in STEM.
Well, you were part of our last International Women's Day program, Chloe. Basically, in initiatives for women in need, we call lovingly IWiN. It's the abbreviated form, and also it was when I founded the organization. It's I was very passionate about serving women who really need help, basically the marginalized women coming from multicultural background, and particularly women and families impacted by domestic violence, gender inequalities, racial discrimination, and other kind of discrimination and barriers they face due to their culture, their beliefs, their age, their ethnicity, their gender, and all these things. And I must admit, when I started in 2013, IWiN was the first multicultural women's organization in ACT. And that too, we were talking about domestic violence, which was a big taboo then in the community. Nobody wanted to touch that because in the multicultural community, mostly in Asian, South Asian, African, it is considered as a personal affair, right? It's a personal issue within the family, not to be interfered by the outsiders. So when I started, that's why I named it that Initiatives for Women in Need. I did not want to use those words which were taboo because I did not want to make people scared or run away. And that it doesn't fit with their cultural beliefs, it doesn't fit with their cultural practices. So that's why we call it, and at the same time, IWiN, I believe, as women, if we want to do something, if we really feel passionately about it and we want to put all our efforts and energy, we can win, whatever difficult it is. You know it, Chloe. You are also in the field of empowerment. And I don't use much of the word empowerment because I think as women, we are all empowered in some way or other. We just need that support. So when we started IWiN, the basic idea was to create that culturally safe support network where women can come together and share their concerns and experiences and support each other. Plus, raising awareness on those issues, social justice issues, where there are a lot of misperceptions. For example, when people talk about domestic violence, what I have seen, back in 2010, 11, that time, people talked about domestic violence only as if when they are physically attacked and and how to put it, physical abuse. Physical abuse is the only way domestic violence can happen. That was the perception. Plus, another wrong perception was that some sections of women, they did think, and some sections, I do believe, they still think that a light abuse, like getting a slap from your husband, or some kind of light violence, controlling their finance, controlling their way of appearance, whether it's wearing a particular dress or going out wearing certain particular dress, or controlling whom they would make friendship with or not, or talk, whatever. These are actually signs of care. It is actually protecting them from outside danger. Now, you can ask me, what is this danger? I don't want to get into this because then it will be a big discussion. What I'm trying to say, the misperception is that some of this domestic violence, we know which is domestic violence, like financial control, coercion behavior, and, a kind of marital, we call it rape nowadays, sexual behavior, controlling those. These are all actually fall under domestic violence, emotional abuse, financial abuse, sexual abuse, and so on, which were actually considered as part of the culture, part of the caring system. That's the misconception. So I wanted to raise that awareness within these women, and also the rights the women have in this country, which they did not have in their home country, right? There are a lot of services available. For example, DVCS, you have burial women, you have Doris, you have so many other services, legal aid, you have other service providers like Multicultural Hub, you have Mars, you have so many other services available who actually help those women, and they can approach those organizations and the service providers in a very safe way. So that knowledge was also not there. So I wanted to raise all these awareness among these women about their rights, about their situation, which is considered unacceptable or which is considered acceptable behavior, those awareness. Plus, we wanted to do policy advocacy with the government. I come from the policy background, so I have a natural, I would say, understanding of how we need to advocate for a particular policy. So I wanted to use that skills for the community where I thought there is a need to do the policy advocacy in a very strong way. So that's what we have done. But at the same time, we also do we celebrate International Women's Day every year. And we also observe Orange Day. Orange Day is actually on the 25th of November. The 25th November has been declared by United Nations as the International Day for Elimination of Violence Against Women and Girls. And from 25th November to 10th of December, that 16 days, is called an activism period where United Nations call it Orange the World campaign. They run Orange the World campaign, and they encourage all organizations, whether it is government, non-government, whoever, or an individual, doesn't matter, or any group, to raise awareness on this, end of violence against women and girls. So we are very inspired by that. So when we observe International Women's Day in the beginning of year in March. Every year we do our end of year event in end of November or beginning of December. During that 16 days of activism period of that Orange the World campaign. So we call it Orange Day event. So we observe that Orange Day event. Normally we do a symposium. So this year also we will be doing our 11th annual Orange Day symposium. And we are doing it on 8th of December. I'll talk about it later, but coming to your STEM one, so you had come for our this year's International Women's Day, which was investing in STEM women, right? And because we work with culturally and linguistically diverse communities, women coming particularly from multicultural background, so our purpose was to encourage women, multicultural women coming from STEM background, to encourage them, to bring them together, because we have such talented women, including you, Chloe, such talented women in the STEM field, and they're doing so well, but mostly they are working silently. People don't know about them, and multicultural women are naturally shy. They don't want to talk about their achievements. So they are such silent achievers. So I just wanted to bring them together so that they can have their own network and they can work together. They can come to know what others are doing. So having that network, and that International Women's Day Symposium was very successful. You were a speaker there yourself, Chloe. So maybe you can talk about your feedback, not me all the time talking about mine. I would like to hear from others that what we are doing, how they perceive it, what is their feedback, so that we can improve on that. And also it gives us a direction that what we are doing, whether it's in the right direction, whether it's benefiting the community, whether community really thinks it works for them. So we want to hear from you. Now, one of the outcomes of that symposium that we ran as part of this International Women's Day event, that they wanted a network to mingle with each other. And that's where I thought, okay, let me start a network group for STEM women. So I started social media, WhatsApp, IWiN STEM Women's Network Group, and you are also part of that, Chloe. And you know how women, they were so happy to be in that network. And I believe one of these STEM achiever from that network you have already interviewed. So this is the outcome I wanted. And then we launched the network on 24th of July in a city legislative assembly, which was again very successful. It's a pity that we could not run another network event because the election happened. So we had election commitment as an organization. We had to run meeting the candidates, because this year, again, quite a few women from multicultural communities raised their hands. So we needed to support them. And now we are preparing for our Orange Day event. So, but my intention is to keep the network going on. And we called the network, we named it Connecting the Dots. So I would encourage, through your podcast, Chloe, if you can also encourage these women to join this network. This is a very free, open network. People can share their achievements. People can share any news or anything, any concerns they want to share and support each other. And you are supporting quite a few of them, I know. So that, in fact, through that network, they can connect with you as well and come to this podcast and talk about their work, talk about their achievements. And that would be lovely, isn't it?
Oh, no, I
So,
think that would be great. Absolutely. I can definitely pop that in the show notes for the podcast so people know how
yeah,
to connect and join this organization, this network. I think that's so important that women have each other to support each other and encourage each other, because sometimes the career journey can feel quite lonely, especially when we
yeah,
have different intersectionalities and we come from different backgrounds, and having someone who's had a similar lived experience can really connect and understand what you're going through. So it's so great that you've created this network and that people can come together. And I'm looking forward to future networking events for sure, because I know you're going to run another one.
I am going to, yeah.
Yes.
But also, I just like to add here, all our IWiN events are aimed at networking. Whatever we do a lot of group activities. For example, this Orange Day, upcoming Orange Day event that I just mentioned happening on 8th of December. This will we try to always do something innovative um, to attract people, um, where they can work together, kind of group activities. So this time we are having a mandala art workshop. So there will be panel discussions by the experts in the field, which and our panel discussions are very interactive. That means we take questions from the floor, so audience can participate, they can ask questions to the panel. So it is very, very interactive. And then we will have this art workshop where we will provide all the materials, canvas, painting, and there will be a very well-known female artist who is an expert in mandala art, who will be facilitating that art workshop. And all attendees, they can take their art piece home after the event. um, and this will be focused on expressing themselves, how they can say no to violence in their own way creatively. So
Mm.
I would encourage, whether women from STEM field or any other field, to come along. And it's open to all. So you can come with your husband, you can come with your brother, you can come with your male colleagues. And we always, in all IWiN events, actually, we encourage men to participate, because though we work on issues that impact women well-being, I personally don't believe, and all the committee members in IWiN, as a whole in IWiN, we don't believe in mm, women well-being, that we can bring that, we can make that positive changes in the life of women, excluding their family, which consists of male members and others. So that's why it is open to all genders. And we particularly encourage men, because quite often men are seen as the perpetrators, right?
Mm.
But we also believe that there are good men too. So we want to encourage, we are not judgmental. That's why. So we are open to all genders. We are open to all interested people, and we encourage everybody to come together. Another reason is that we always do our events in the weekend, because we are all working women. So um, on working days, to run an event is very difficult for us for practical reasons. So when we do events in the weekend, we don't want to come people sacrificing their family life. So whoever wants to bring their, important members of their family with them, with whom they want to spend the time, whether it is friends or families, so that they can still come to our event, be with us. At the same time, they can be with their loved ones.
Yeah.
So that's why also.
Yeah, and I think it's so important, I think, to be inclusive in that sense, because like you said, we actually need men as allies in our journey.
Yeah,
And really, I mean, for me, my husband is my biggest supporter in all that I do. And I wouldn't have been
same,
able to do a
same,
lot of
yeah.
the things that I do without his support. So,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so it's so important, I guess, for the men to see and understand the things that women do go through, so that then they have that empathy for the reasons, I guess, sometimes why things might be a bit more challenging for us, and I think that greater understanding and awareness can help everyone all around to be more kind and loving to each other as well.
Yes,
So
yes,
yeah,
yes,
so thanks so much for sharing
absolutely.
that. Yeah, now we are coming to the end of our podcast now, so I have one last question for you, which is, for you who's worked in economics, what advice would you give to other women who may be interested in pursuing mathematical and economic modeling in this area?
I would just say go with your instinct, go with your love, because any subject, whether it has mathematics or not, it at the end of the day, you you know what you love, you know, and I don't go by the narrow definition of STEM. I think all women, to some extent, they're STEM women. I'm just using a very broader concept because as women, we have to manage our family budget, which involves maths. You have to maintain your schedule to do the time management, which again involves maths, you know. And also, quite often when you do the budgeting, you do look back your perception of evidence, what worked, what did not work, what kind of allocation you should do for certain expenses or not,
Mm.
and what new expenses you should commit. All these number games, isn't it? And you use your past data, I would say past data of your experience, to have the future outcome, which is a desirable outcome. So it's how you look at it. And another very practical fact is that whether you are directly involved with the STEM field as a STEM researcher or working as a STEM expert, um, you will be working with other people, organizations who are not from STEM field, right? So those people who are supporting you, so they are also working in the STEM field indirectly. So my definition of STEM is very wide. And as I said, that my advice to all women is that if you're coming directly from STEM field, very good. You support the women around you who are not from STEM. And women who are in the STEM field indirectly but don't consider themselves coming from STEM, I would say that look around you, your family members or your loved ones or your colleagues and friends, some of them will be directly working in the STEM field and you support them. So at the end of the day, it's the support, it's a whole circle. And as I was talking about mandala art, mandala is about a round circle and it's the universe, it's the system. And what could be more STEM than the universe? The Oppenheimer also looked at the universe before making that atom bomb, right? Not getting into that. But what I'm talking, that concept of universe, concept of system, concept of the community, it's all is an infinity. It's a round circle which doesn't have any end. So I think we just can't avoid mathematics in real
Mm.
life.
Mm.
It's
Yes.
all, it's a relationship. Look at the relationship could be angular, relationship could be just perpendicular. I don't know, but what I'm saying that we just can't avoid somewhere indirectly or directly. It's a thinking process. How you think, how you take it.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it is supporting each other, like having that circle of support, holding each other's hands and support. Now, saying that, I just want to mention, if you have time, Chloe, I just want to mention about 2 upcoming programs of IWiN that we want to launch. We will launch next year. One is that we are doing women leadership program, which we call Netri. Netri is a Sanskrit word which means woman leader. A leader who is a woman. Woman leader is called Netri. Which and this leadership, there are a lot of leadership programs in the not-for-profit sector, but how we are different, what is our differentiator is that we will be running it through 6 sessions, and it will be all culturally safe sessions, culturally safe, sensitive, and appropriate, where we will not only focus on the soft skills like presentation skills, having financial literacy, having, your building your mental resilience, those kind of soft skills, but also we will be working on creating future women entrepreneur. So the course will involve a project management plus a business development session. So our intention is that at the end of the leadership course, each woman will come out with their own business plan. So after that, this is the next phase. So we will not only finish with the leadership course. Once we develop that soft skills and their own business plan, we then take them to our next phase of the project, which is a social enterprise project. We are calling it Orange Skirt. And under that social enterprise project, then these women will have the scope of applying their own business plan to start their own business. And some women actually it's not necessary, it's not mandatory for them to start their own business. They can work with us and we can support them in developing their business plan at their own pace, and we support them so they can work with us. So it's up to them whether they want to work on their own or they want to work with us. But at the end of the day, we want all of them to be economically independent, find some ways of being economically independent. So that's how that these 2 programs are linked, and we want to deliver it next year. So our intention is to start the Women Leadership program from next year, February, March. And it will be a 6 weeks. So most probably it will be every fortnight. But we will do a consultation before and see what the women who are interested in doing the course, how often they want to run. So this is another thing. We want them to have a say how the program to be delivered, how often or at what pace that is comfortable for them, because we want them to succeed. We want them to complete. So the pace of the program will depend on what feedback we get about running it. And once they finish it, how they want to be incorporated. Again, they decide it. But whether they want to be an independent business owner or whether they want to work with us, there will be support even then,
that sounds
all the way.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I think I would definitely put in the information or the links to those programs when they're ready, or at least to IWiN, so that then they can follow up with the programs if they're interested. So I want to thank you again, Madhumita, for sharing your stories and insights with us today. I think we've heard about how you got started in economics and how it's interesting how things are. The curriculum can be a little bit different, isn't it, between countries, and
Yeah.
it's so exciting to hear, I guess, your passion for the community and how we can actually apply economics to help support the community in a more tangible way. So, and thanks again for your advice as well about, us supporting each other and, really initiating all these programs so that we can help women to be more financially secure and financially independent too. So just a quick summary, like, can you tell us how people can connect with you, or if they want to find out more about the work that you do?
Definitely. As I said, that we have quite a few social media, the network group. So we are on WhatsApp. We have IWiN public group. We have IWiN STEM group. So these are the two WhatsApp group, IWiN STEM women's group and IWiN public group. These are the two WhatsApp group. Then we have our website, which is www.iwinact.org. Plus, we have our very, very, very popular Facebook page. So people can just search us with initiatives for women in need in Facebook, and they will get us. So we do
Fantastic.
have LinkedIn page also. We do have Instagram page also, and they can search us by the name. Same with the Facebook. They can search us by the name, and even with the website also, they can search us by the name Initiatives for Women in Need Inc. INC, because we are an incorporated one, and they can connect with us through all these website and social
Fantastic.
media pages.
Yep. No, that would be great. So I'll definitely pop all these links to the show notes. So if you want to find out more, you can go to the show notes and get those links from there. So thanks again, Madhumita, for sharing with us today. It's been so wonderful to hear about the work that you do and the work that you're going to continue doing as well. So thanks again for your time.
Thank you, Chloe, for giving me that opportunity to talk to your audience and share my thoughts with you. And I see myself working with you more and working together, most importantly, for the benefits of our community and connecting with our women, particularly women coming from CULD background, so that we can work together and share our thoughts and celebrate our achievements together.
Absolutely. I look forward to working with you again soon. We've reached the end of our show, so thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others or leave a rating and review. If you have any questions about the things we covered in the show or would like to follow my projects, please find me on Instagram and LinkedIn. Thanks for tuning in today, and I'll see you at the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Code Voices in STEM podcast. Get the show notes, links, and resources from today's episode by visiting drchloelim.com.